Hey, what's up, nerds? The new Sorcery Contested Realm game is almost on my doorstep, and I gotta tell you, they took some shots at Magic the Gathering by enlisting 4 original alpha artists. That's right, 4 original artists that have been with Magic the Gathering since alpha, 4 of the original 25, have cards in this new card game set that's coming out in Sorcery's Alpha Edition. I'm really looking forward to getting my cards and taking a look at them. I don't know if I'll have the courage to crack my alpha boxes, but I do have some beta pre-ordered as well. Let's take a look at these artists' work. Let's talk about what makes them special, and then see what they've got in store for us in Sorcery. All right, I dug into my collection to find some cards from each one of these artists. Nothing alpha, I don't think. First of all, we have the work of Anson Maddox. Anson Maddox is well known in the Magic community for his artwork. The Llanowar Elves, very famous. Show you some cards and see if you can see some similarity in style. Of course, the Hurloon Minotaur, which was originally out in Alpha, as well as the Llanowar Elves. The Hurloon Minotaur is one of the poster children for the game. I would say right off the bat, Anson kind of likes some face tattoos, right? Or at least some strange lines on his creatures. I like both. Let me pull a couple of cards here. I feel like the Legions of Gloomdual from Ice Age and Frankenstein's Monster here have a lot in common. Not as many stitches on the Frankenstein's Monster. You can see some on his shoulder as the Legions of Gloomdual, but I always felt like those cards were pretty good together. Anson Maddox just kind of had a very, I guess, edgy, dark sci-fi fantasy feel to things. I mean, almost a little bit of echoes of H.R. Geiger's Aliens in this guy, this Thrall Wizard from Fallen Empires. I mean, what a creepy-ass looking card. If Anson could extend tongues or horns or things, he would do it. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy. What, the Daralor? Another Thrall from Fallen Empires that not many people probably ever played with, but what a weird looking beast. I felt like this kind of nailed Anson's look to the Soldevi Golem from Ice Age. Just a very, very, I'd call it like hard rock, heavy metal vibe to the fantasy he's got going on here. And who could forget the Gaze of Pain? I almost feel like that has a shade of a self-portrait in it. Look at those eyes just staring at you through the cuts on his face. I threw also in this Bone Shaman, so you get a larger image, not just an up-close portrait, but you can see Anson's penchant for large mouths. I'd love to see him paint the Joker. Maybe he already has from Batman. Anyway, body tattoos, sharp lines. Anyway, Anson Maddox, love his stuff. He only has done one sorcery card. It's called the Font of Life. I look forward to, hopefully, him painting some more to come. Let's move on to another original artist, Mr. Jeff Mingus. Jeff A. Mingus. I always loved the Bog Wraith back in the day because there was nothing like a little swamp walk. And I'll let you take a look at a couple of Mingus's cards and see if you can see the color palette he's using. I think Mingus kind of used some pretty subdued color palettes. He was the original artist of the OG Grizzly Bears. There was a level of realism, sort of on the edge of realism in his work. Raised Dead, also a classic. Cracker from The Dark. Very subdued colors, very kind of a sculpted feel to the guy's cloak. Fire and Brimstone from The Dark. Even when it's bright colors, they're still kind of subdued, if that makes sense, a little desaturated. The Goblin War Drums from Fallen Empires. Oh my god, okay. I've been playing this game, I've been collecting this game for 25 plus years, and I just now, almost 28 years, and I just now noticed that the Goblin War Drums here were skulls. I am a little slow on the uptake. And the Dwarven Lieutenant from Jeff A. Mingus. Works in traditional mediums. Classic stuff. And he has several cards coming out in Sorcery. The one that I want to share with you is called Bone Rabble. I mean, I love skeletons. What can I say? And then we have Melissa Benson. Everybody knows Melissa Benson for her Shivan Dragon. Talked about this creature not too long ago. Melissa Benson loves the bright colors. Has a I don't want to say cartoonish look, but definitely a kind of traditional illustrated fantasy look. So the dragon, the nightmare, also from Alpha. Pulled a couple of cards from Fallen Empires too, because I thought it would be fun to see her do slightly different things. But even this Feral's Zealot from Fallen Empires has some color to him. You know, he's wearing these bandoliers of daggers, and there's just like reds and blues painted throughout there. She really likes her use of colors. Always signed her work with a unique kind of Melissa Benson icon. You can see it up here on the Hand of Justice, another Fallen Empires card that I kind of like, with really bold colors. Her Balduvian Hydra, fun to look at from Ice Age. And I pulled the Phantasmal Mount, not one of my favorite pictures, but if you want to think about Melissa Benson, she loves to paint. She's got a lot of horses and horse-like creatures and a lot of bright colors. She's got some merfolk too, with some crazy colors on them. Of course, I love this Touch of Death and the Keldorn Dead. Even the skeletons have color to them, and the purple in the background, and the color that she uses to round out the skeletons. So, Melissa Benson has several cards from Sorcery. I like the Infernal Legion here, and I also wanted to point out, especially because of her Nightmare, I wanted to point out the Phantom Steed, which I feel like is a callback to her Nightmare. And finally, of those original four that are doing work for Sorcery, we have Drew Tucker. Now, Drew Tucker's work, very unique back in the day, because he did most things in watercolor. And so things were somewhat abstracted and not super representational, but they definitely evoked a mood. This is a reprint of the Repentant Blacksmith from Chronicles. It was originally in Arabian Nights. You can see the watercolor look. I love these Drew Tucker cards more now than I probably did at the time that they originally came out. Ashes to Ashes. I mean, what is this really a picture of? It looks like, to me, it looks like a brown and dead forest. But there's almost like this smattering of matter here, and you wonder what was there, right? Is that something that got destroyed? Also from the Dark, I believe. Are you from the? Yeah, you're from the Dark. The Murk Dwellers. Just a hint of these creatures. Murk Dwellers they're like literally summoned Murk Dwellers. They're not zombies or anything tribal like that. They're just the Murk Dwellers. Like, what are they? Who knows? But there we go. The Exorcist. You can get the vibe that the Exorcist exorcised something that was right here, and it just popped. I don't know. But you can feel the Exorcist's words, right? You can hear them. He's got his finger in the air. He's gesticulating. Drifting a little more into some representationalism with the Acacian priest here, giving a blessing to this character in the foreground. Similar to the Murk Dwellers, the Nechrite from Fallen Empires. Can't really tell what it is. Man, I pulled a lot of Drew Tucker stuff. Flare from Ice Age. You know, the guy in the foreground looks like he's gotten blasted by something. Also from the Ice Age, the Musician. Just a hint of him here in the trees, and there's another character walking away. Just I really appreciate his work a lot more as I've gotten older. Dark Banishing from Ice Age. Whoever this poor soul is, they're getting banished. You can tell they're kind of like, no, no, no. Arms thrown up in that defensive position. And this is interesting because one of his newer cards, the Oversold Cemetery alternate extended art from Dominaria Remastered, well, you know, a little more representational, a little less watercolor abstraction. Over the years, he did get a little more representational. But gosh, I love going back and looking at his stuff. It's different. You wouldn't see it in Magic now. What does he have for us? Several sorcery cards. I really like the Entangled Terrain here. It's just beautiful. So that's what I have. I think Sorcery knows what they're doing. They reach way back into the Wayback Machine and bring these artists along to say, hey, Magic fans, we'd like to take you back to the beginning when things were really cool. That's my impression anyway, and I can't wait. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.